Hello and welcome to the Arizona Wildcats post-game show. I'm Justin Spears here with Michael Lev. We are part of the Wildcaster, and well, lo and behold, the Arizona Wildcats get their first win of the Kevin Sumlin era. They beat Southern Utah 62-31 tonight. And Michael, I mean, Arizona was expected to win pretty big tonight. I thought Khalil Tate, I thought heading into tonight that he would have ran the ball a little bit more, but tonight he really showed off his arm. He had a career-high 349 passing yards and set a career high from the Foster Farms Bowl with 5 touchdowns. What did you take away from Khalil Tate's performance tonight?
Man, he looked good throwing the ball, didn't he? You know, all those deep balls that he failed to complete earlier in the season, suddenly they were dropping into his receiver's arms. I'm sure the caliber of competition had something to do with it, but man, a couple of those throws. I mean, the one to Devon Cooper where he's kind of scrambling around, stops, sets his feet, and just uncorks the ball 60-plus yards, and Cooper makes a diving catch. And then the one to Sean Poindexter, he's scrambling to the right. It's one of those scramble drill plays, right? Poindexter takes off up the sideline. He just dropped it right in his hands, in stride. And when you see those plays, you're just like, wow, you know, this guy is capable of doing so much. Why can't we see it on a more consistent basis? But you know what? Maybe tonight will be kind of that building block that he and the offense need to do this on a more regular basis.
Tonight, Laith Frick, left tackle, he returned to the lineup for Arizona. He missed the first 2 games because he was granted another year of eligibility. In result of that year, he was supposed to miss BYU, Houston. So he missed the first 2 games.
Could have used him, right?
Yes. Look, I mean, in hindsight, I mean, yeah, they could have really used him. He was back in at left tackle. And when you were talking about Khalil Tate being able to make those throws, it seemed like Khalil Tate just had a smidge more time to sit back in the pocket and allow the wide receivers to get some space. Now, again, this is against Southern Utah. How will the offensive line respond against, I mean, even next week when they start Pac-12 play against Oregon State?
Well, look, there's no doubt that they are better off with Laith Frick in the lineup than without.
Yep. Right?
I mean, he's a 4-year starter, with this being his 4th year. I mean, he's been playing since his 2nd year. I think he started 9 games that year, every game in the past 2 years. Just a super solid, reliable guy. And Kevin Sumlin said something interesting about him, I thought. He said not only does he bring experience, but he brings a little bit of attitude. And you have to have that kind of nasty streak, right, if you're an offensive line. And I don't know if they had that the first 2 weeks with a bunch of guys who had really kind of never played before.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't have the confidence of kind of having been there and done that. Laith brings that to the table. It's definitely, again, it's something that they can build on moving forward. I thought going into this game that it was going to be one where they just kind of ran it down Southern Utah's throats, and they did run the ball effectively, but really it was those big passing plays that kind of put the nail in the Thunderbirds' coffin.
And, you know, looking back at last year when Khalil Tate introduced himself to the college football world, it was explosive run plays where we didn't really see those home run balls. They emphasized it against BYU. It didn't really pan out. Houston, that's a completely other story. But tonight they were able to generate more.
They were. So here's the question,
plays.
Okay? This is kind of a conversation we were all having, kind of heading down the elevator to the post-game interviews. Will we see that running from Khalil again? You know, if the running backs are effective and the downfield passing is effective, will that open up the quarterback run game?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they went into tonight's game really looking to do much of that. I mean, he was a little bit banged up last week, right? Finally did have one decent run tonight and then fumbled and got kind of tackled and came up limping afterward. I think at that point they're just like, you know what, let's not run Khalil, let's have him throw the ball. I'll be interested to see if that part of his game ever comes back, because obviously he is extremely fast.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I was watching him after each one of those touchdowns, how fast he would sprint to celebrate, you know, with his teammates, and the dude is fast. There's no doubt. And you saw the acceleration on that one run. Whether we're going to see kind of what we saw last year remains to be seen.
Absolutely. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, Michael. You know, Arizona going into this game, they did not have a sack or turnover. Well, you can go ahead and put a check mark next to both of those because they had 2 sacks tonight. First one, Anthony Pandy. Next one went to Kylan Wilborn. And then the interception was in the 4th quarter. Jerry Wallace got an interception, which resulted in a Brandon Leone touchdown. So, sure, again, it's Southern Utah. However, adds a little bit of confidence. Like you said, it's a building block for what's to come in the Pac-12 season.
Yeah, but you know what? When we talked to Pandy after the game, he kept saying, like, we need to be more physical. Yeah. And if you watch the game tonight, that was pretty obvious. Even with the sacks and the turnover that they finally got, they still struggled to stop the run at times. As Kevin Sumlin mentioned, they still struggled to get off the field on third down. You know, Southern Utah ran 98 plays in this game.
Yeah.
They possessed the ball for 37 plus minutes. Now, part of that was that Arizona struck so quickly on offense. Like someone said, like he had never seen a drive chart like this, where it's like every time Arizona had the ball, they'd have it for about 2 minutes, and then Southern Utah would have these long drives moving down the field and so forth. Still need to see more from that defensive front. And I'm worried that a better quarterback will be able to kind of slice and dice this defense. You know, there were some opportunities for Southern Utah tonight, and they just weren't able to connect on them. So I would describe the defense as a work in progress. They played a ton of guys tonight, and Coach Sumlin said that that was partly out of necessity and partly because, you know, some of those guys merited more playing time. We saw a lot of J.B. Brown with Justin Belknap out. We saw a lot of Jalen Harris, who I think is going to be a really good pass rusher here someday. We didn't see P.J. Johnson at all. We barely saw Jace Whitaker and Scotty Young Jr. David Coleman was looking really good. Then he got banged up. So I don't know what to make of this defense. I don't really feel that great about the defensive side of the ball, even though they were able to accomplish a couple of those things.
Yeah, you know, and like we said, it's Southern Utah. But, you know, Jerry Wallace, he looked great tonight. He started in place of Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. But DFF was still able to mix in. He made some plays
that big fourth down stop near the goal line.
Exactly. But, yeah, you talk about that defensive line. You know, Justin Belknap breaking his foot before tonight's game. We don't know the status of P.J. Johnson or Derek Bowles, and you think about right there, those are three of Arizona's key defensive linemen.
Yeah, Bowles played in this game off the bench. He hasn't been very effective this year. He just, you know, he was kind of like one of those three-technique penetrator types last year, and we haven't seen that explosiveness from him this year. So I wonder if something's going on with him, with an ankle or a leg or something. You know, no one talked about in the postgame. We haven't talked about yet. How about J.J. Taylor with that 84? I don't think I can ever remember a kickoff return on a squib kick.
Yeah.
But that was a really impressive play. And if they can get like one big play out of the special teams per game, I think that can make a big difference. They didn't punt tonight, by the way, too.
Wow.
Which is kind of interesting. I think the only 2 drives they didn't score. The one where J.J. fumbled, where he was kind of fighting for extra yardage, and then the drive there at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But special teams, when you're struggling on defense and you're still kind of figuring things out on offense, you can get that one big special teams play. It can make a big difference.
And that was the first kickoff return for a touchdown since 2014.
Right.
Caleb Jones.
That was on an onside kick.
Yeah.
So the last one before that was 2010. So they don't happen that often. And I've noticed too, you know, with Sean Brown, that every opposing punter is trying to hold the ball as long as they can and let their guys get downfield. Not every punter is capable of doing that. I still think we're going to see a big play from Sean Brown at some point in the kicking game. The kicking game. That's for you, Ryan Kinley. I still think we're going to see that. We haven't seen it yet. But like I said, it really helps when you're trying to kind of figure things out in some other areas of the game.
One thing that we've always talked about, you know, before this game tonight was, okay, Arizona's 0-2. Is it time to really rethink this season? A lot of people said that Arizona could even go 8-4. I know our guys over at SI, they predicted them to go 9-3 and appear in the Rose Bowl. Doesn't look like it's going to happen like that, but looking at the Pac-12 South as a whole, Arizona State, they lose to San Diego State. USC, they lose to Texas.
Colorado looks
good.
good, and they beat Nebraska, but Nebraska lost to Troy.
Exactly.
Today, right?
Yeah.
Utah got clobbered at home by Washington. Always a tough out. Always a tough place to play.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to go 9-3. Okay,
no.
With a 1-2 start, 9-3 is out the window. Can they go 6-6 or 7-5? It's still possible. I mean, I think the offense, based on what I saw tonight and what we saw kind of toward the end of the game against Houston, is going to be okay. The defense is a concern. They're still getting beat at the line of scrimmage way too much. It's too easy for opponents to run the ball, and if you can't stop the run, I mean, that's kind of the foundation for any good defense, right? Marcel Yates talked about that before the season. I want to get better against the run. We haven't seen it yet. We need to see it for me to have enough confidence to say that Arizona is going to be a bowl team or come close to what those preseason expectations were.
All right, well, that will do it for this Arizona Wildcats postgame show. It is Sunday morning, Michael Lev.
And there's a nice breeze in the air.
It's beautiful.
Fall is almost here, right?
It's great.
Right? Even though it was like 110 degrees today or whatever, it's coming.
Absolutely. Well, that will do it for this Arizona Wildcats postgame show. Don't forget to follow all of our content at the Wildcaster and download that free app. It's available on the App Store, Google Play. Download it. All this guy's content, everything you need about the Arizona Wildcats football team, right there on one app. For Michael, I'm Justin. Thanks for watching.